Yes, Logan Paul has sued CoffeeZilla for saying mean things about his crypto.
Okay, yeah, no, he talks pretty fast. Actually, I don't like that. There can only be one. There can't be two squeaky voices on the freaking stream. Okay.
Scams. Hey Logan, I'm gonna say some mean things about you. You want to dance? But who could have possibly have seen that Logan Paul's crypto ventures
Let's
might
go.
not
Try to
be
sue him,
on
bro.
the up and up? I
Do
mean,
it.
you'd need at least one eye for that. But to take you back, he promised that his game, CryptoZoo, which combined cryptocurrency and NFTs, would allow users to make real money with barely any effort.
It's a really fun game that makes you money. I really, really do believe it is going to be the catalyst for a lot of young people getting into crypto. I think this will be their first fun NFT crypto experience. My game.
Now, it's possible that CryptoZoo might have made Logan Paul some real-world money with very little effort, but players who purchased...
Bro, like, the game is still not out. You have to understand. Like, the fully working... I guess some version of it does exist, but the fully working game that does everything that was promised still is not out yet.
The in-game currency were left out in the cold. But that's where YouTuber CoffeeZilla, real name Steven Findezen, comes in. He's been investigating Paul's promises and the demise of CryptoZoo since at least 2022.
And we here on the channel have been...
And now Logan Paul has...
We here on the channel have been freaking on top of this situation the entire way through, bro. We ain't ever gonna forget it.
Filed a defamation lawsuit against CoffeeZilla. Paul alleges that he maliciously and repeatedly published false statements accusing Paul of operating a scam related to CryptoZoo, and that these lies have hurt his reputation, caused him significant emotional distress. Logan Paul was just an upstanding internet citizen who completely rehabilitated his image, and then CoffeeZilla just came out of nowhere and ruined that good name.
Is this the picture of him at the Unalive Yourself forest in Japan, where he took a selfie with a corpse? Oh yeah, okay, got it.
But first, what is CryptoZoo? Well, CryptoZoo was a Pokemon-inspired trading game where users could buy eggs, hatch them, and then breed the animals. To participate, users spend their non-fungible tokens, called Zoo Coins, to buy the eggs. The app runs on the Binance Smart Chain, and the NFTs are purchased with Ethereum. The game promised users that they could make real money this way. All you had to do was breed very rare digital hybrid animals, and then watch your cache of coins grow.
Bro, we have a massive team behind it, and are probably out of pocket like $1 million just because we believe it's going to work.
It was a simpler time back then, and the sales pitch...
Which again, like, we still don't have the fully working game. So the fact that he's like, bro, we're out $1 million on this project. It's like, why? You never did anything. Where did all that money go?
It worked. Players purchased over $2.5 million worth of digital eggs, which helped create enough hype to convince the crypto market that the Zoo Coin's actual value was worth up to $2 billion. But here's the catch. CryptoZoo launched in September of 2021, but as of 2024, it's still not fully playable. Players who purchased the eggs couldn't breed them, let alone cash out the coins for real money, and investors said that the eggs were just a picture on a screen that was basically worth nothing whatsoever. And that's a pretty accurate description of an NFT. It took me and Steve Bold 27 minutes to say the same thing a few years ago. But the CryptoZoo development team left the project in October of 2021, alleging that, quote, Logan's team has stolen the tokens from all of its V3 investors, while also lying to the public that he had paid the devs $1 million. Now, while it's not unusual for a group of people to have creative differences,
which he did not pay
Paul's
them
silence
at all.
and the lack of playable game led many people to believe that they'd been conned. In December of 2022, CoffeeZilla started a 3-part series on CryptoZoo. At first, Paul responded by blaming a developer who...
Bro, this is a very good summary of everything that happened, bro. I'm so glad he's like breaking it down for us.
...with the source code and held it hostage for $1 million. However, CoffeeZilla tracked down this developer, Zach Kelling, who disputed everything Paul said about him. And reporters also discovered that Paul's other partner on the project, Eddie Ibanez, was a catch-me-if-you-can level liar. Paul's manager...
Like, a lot of the people that he decided to work with were known con artists and known scammers who had already gotten in trouble for similar, if not identical, scams.
Jeff Levin allegedly knew about Ibanez's exaggerations before the CryptoZoo launch, but kept him on the team. Now, Logan Paul filed his lawsuit in federal court in the United States District Court for the Western District of Texas, though Logan Paul putatively lives in Puerto Rico and CoffeeZilla and his company reside in Texas. Although many defamation complaints are filed in state court, filing in Texas federal court gives Logan Paul an advantage because CoffeeZilla won't be able to use the Texas anti-SLAPP law. As you might know, a strategic lawsuit against public participation, or SLAPP suit, is a legal action intended to censor, intimidate, or silence critics by burdening them with the cost of legal defense. And the Texas Citizens Participation Act, or TCPA, allows defendants to file a motion to dismiss a legal action that infringes on their right to free speech. This motion can be filed early and often before the case proceeds to discovery, which saves a huge amount of money. However,
Damn, so he's not even protected by anti-SLAPP. So Logan's really trying to just intimidate him to stop investigating him, huh? That freaking sucks, dude. What a crook.
CoffeeZilla won't be able to use the TCPA to file an early motion to dismiss and recover costs because the Fifth Circuit, which rules over Texas, ruled that the state law doesn't apply in federal court. Parenthetically, I'll note that there's a circuit split where some federal courts will apply state-based anti-SLAPP laws and some will not, which is why we need a federal anti-SLAPP law. So
yeah, that makes sense. Like, it's stupid that it is this way, but the solution is so easy, and that's to have a federal anti-SLAPP law. So it's kind of like, yes, it's stupid that it works this way. It's stupid that there has to be a federal SLAPP law and a state SLAPP law, but it does make sense if you think about it, because some states just full on don't protect it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Which I have no idea why. I feel like there should not be a situation ever, right? So yeah, should be federal anti-SLAPP law. Why? Where's Kamala Harris on this? Where's Trump on this? Biden, all the, like, where are they on these things? Anti-SLAPP laws. Federal anti-SLAPP laws.
CoffeeZilla's defense is going to get extremely expensive, even if he's successful. But let's look at Logan Paul's
Which is
lawsuit.
why he's asking
Paul's
for help.
alleges that CoffeeZilla's commentary about CryptoZoo.
CoffeeZilla was asking for help in order to like help fight back in this particular situation. It was specifically he wanted people to not necessarily just donate money to him, but like he offered like merch. Which, if I'm being completely honest to you, depending on how my paycheck goes this month, depending on how much money I get from selling all my empty cans and bottles this month, and any cardboard I can get my hands on, basically I might get myself one of them shirts. There was a really freaking cool cat one, but there's also one that's like a code one, like a computer code one that's like freaking sick. I'll show you which one it was. A little bit later. Let's continue with the video.
Orchestrated by Paul. He says that CoffeeZilla knew he was making false statements when he published the
They're
videos.
actually like legit.
So
cool
what are
shirts.
the allegedly false and defamatory statements?
I need to get them on top of my merch, bro.
2022 YouTube series. Right off the bat, in response to those videos, Paul threatened to sue CoffeeZilla. In a now deleted video, Paul said, quote,
"You led the charge to drive and monetize a narrative telling millions of people that I'm a fraud or I tried to scam my audience. That is patently false."
And Paul accused CoffeeZilla of not reaching out to him to get the facts until December 24th, 2022. On Twitter, CoffeeZilla said he contacted Paul in October seeking clarification about the CryptoZoo project, and you can see his questions for Paul on the Instagram post. And these messages went unanswered. And at the time, Paul...
Yeah, it's interesting because Logan said, "You never tried to contact me." CoffeeZilla showed him proof that he did. And then Logan said, "Well, that's all indirect methods. None of those are like direct methods to try to contact me." And now that we're back in another situation where Logan is in the middle of another scam with another one of his companies, Logan once again is dodging him at every turn, refusing to talk to him. Why don't you want to talk to him, Logan?
Swiftly backed down. Then CoffeeZilla tweeted, quote, "Logan called me. He said he's deleting the 2 responses and is dropping the lawsuit threats." CoffeeZilla had planned to release another video about CryptoZoo, but decided to delay the video so he could include Paul's response. And here was Logan Paul's later response, saying the war is not with coffee and, quote, "I'm grateful he brought this to light." He apologized and promised to come up with a plan to make things right. CoffeeZilla warned Paul that he would continue to follow the CryptoZoo story, saying the, quote, "The right thing to do here is refunds for the affected victims. That's what this has always been about." Now, there's no...
And that's honestly the only thing CoffeeZilla has ever asked for. At the end of the day, not even an apology, nothing. He just wants the victims to get their money back, to be made whole again.
actionable defamation in these old exchanges.
And to be fair, and to make this point very clear, even if CoffeeZilla himself makes money making content about this, or Patreon, or whatever the frick, I think that is 100% fully okay, because he is an independent journalist, and frankly, he deserves that paycheck more than some dependent on corporation journalists. Okay. Some actual journalists that work in media companies
reported was true, and they're also outside of the 1-year statute of limitations for bringing libel claims in Texas. But that's where things get interesting, because Logan Paul announced a 3-step plan to remedy the problem.
So I'd like to announce my 3-step plan.
I don't even know if we've gotten past step 1 on his stupid 3-step plan.
Moving forward. Step 1, Jeff and I are going to burn our zoo tokens, so we have no
Okay, to be fair, I don't know if they burned their zoo tokens. I think they did. I think he did that in good faith at the time.
Financial upside in the game, and it will add value to holder tokens. Step 2, we want to offer a rewards program for players who are disappointed in the status of the game. So essentially, you're going to be able to burn your base egg or your base animal for the mint price, which was 0.1 ETH or the equivalent in BNB. I am personally committing 1,000 ETH to this, which is about $1.3 million right now for players who want to get out. And then step 3, obviously finish and deliver the game.
Now, Paul made promises to remedy the situation, but not everyone was happy. So some of the customers sued him, and they went to arbitration, where they were represented by attorney Tom Kirker, who you might know by his online moniker, Attorney Tom. Now, put a pin in that, we're going to come back to it. But fast forward 6 months later when CoffeeZilla...
If I'm not mistaken, he tried to get out of paying everyone in step 2 by offering them, like, way less. And if you took the money, even though it was like way, like, I was like 10% of what you lost, if you took the money, you also had to sign away the right to sue him for any more money in the future. So you could, like, there was no way after that his hands were clean. Like, that's messed up, bro.
Tweeted out, Logan Paul really is the type of dude
if
to
you took
thank
the
you
money.
when you
I don't know if
expose a
anyone ever
scam,
did, honestly.
then block you when you remind him to pay up. Now, Logan Paul alleges that CoffeeZilla's tweet is libel per se. A defamation or libel per se describes statements which are considered to be so harmful on their face that the plaintiff doesn't need to prove special damages, that they can get by with basically no damages and still file suit. In Texas, defamation per se includes accusing someone of having an infectious disease, accusing someone of a crime, or making statements that harm someone in their job or profession. Now, in this context, the allegation of defamation per se probably doesn't make any difference whatsoever. But in general, to prove defamation, he has to show 1, the publication of a false statement of fact, 2, that was defamatory concerning the plaintiff, and 3, that the person made the statement with actual malice, and 4, damages. And I'll remind you that the term actual malice is a legal
Honestly, CoffeeZilla's statement on the whole situation really debunked a lot of these. There was no real damages, so to speak, but defaming, because Logan, that wasn't Logan's like first scam. He's already been scamming before that.
term of art. It does not mean that the publication of false statements was made with mean intention, but rather that the plaintiff has to actually know that what they're saying is false or act with reckless disregard for the truth of that statement. And here Logan Paul alleges that, quote, the accusation that Paul operated a financial scam is one that tends to harm his reputation so as to lower him in the estimation of the community or deter third persons from associating or dealing with him. The June 29th, 2023 X post is libelous per se, and that it tends to affect Paul in his profession or occupation and accuse Paul of engaging in illegal conduct. Now, according to Texas law, a statement constitutes defamation per se if it injures a person in his office, profession, or occupation, but this is interpreted narrowly so it doesn't prohibit legitimate complaints against a person for their professional conduct. And generally, disparagement of a general character equally discernible to all persons is not enough unless the particular quality of disparagement is of such a character that it is peculiarly valuable.
Like, let's be honest. What damages are incurring? Logan Paul is still doing really well with Prime. His channel is doing great. It's fine. This has not cost him his job, or his position, or his power. There's nothing.
In the plaintiff's business or profession. Now, what is Logan Paul's profession? Arguably an influencer or boxer. He's not a developer, he's not a financial professional, nor does he have any special knowledge of NFTs and how the blockchain works, clearly. So really, even if it mattered here, the allegation of defamation per se probably wouldn't apply anyway. But anyway, Logan Paul says by 2023, CoffeeZilla knew that CryptoZoo wasn't a scam. He says, quote, "The post was a gross and intentional distortion of Paul's prior statements in which he referenced CoffeeZilla's research as a positive in the sense that it had helped expose the wrongdoing by Paul's former business partners who..."
Yeah, that being said, though, I feel like it still is a scam. I feel like it is a scam. I feel like it's still a scam. Because people paid for something, and they haven't gotten it yet. They didn't get the thing you promised. You promised something in exchange for money, and people gave you that money, and they haven't received the thing that you promised. So, as far as I'm concerned, that's a scam.
Who had also hoodwinked and victimized Paul. Feindeisen knew this, but he intentionally conveyed to the public the false accusation that Paul was a participant in a scam and intentionally defrauded people to increase his own profile by continuing to attack a well-known celebrity. And Logan Paul cites the mean tweets as proof that his reputation was ruined by CoffeeZilla's scam comment, but number one, he would have a very hard time proving damages, but more to the point, there's little evidence to support the claim that CoffeeZilla's characterizations were false in the first place. There was no completed game, his fans weren't paid back, and CoffeeZilla discovered that the people that Logan Paul was working with had lied. Not to mention, this seems to be a classic opinion based on disclosed facts about the type of person that Paul is. In fact, they all seem to agree on the underlying facts that CryptoZoo was in fact a scam. The only difference is that Logan Paul is claiming that he was also a victim of bad developers as well, and CoffeeZilla says that when you put your name on something and you run the whole project, the reputation is yours. Logan Paul doesn't like the implication, but you can't force your opinion onto someone else. In fact, CoffeeZilla could probably write another tweet saying that Logan Paul is the type of person to sue you for defamation when you exercise your First Amendment rights. Moreover, to the extent that the tweet is factual, it seems accurate. Logan Paul has blocked CoffeeZilla for years. He hasn't paid back all of his customers, so, where's the lie? Additionally, on June...
See, I love that, because it's like, we wouldn't say that like, applies to the letter of the law, so to speak, but with someone with experience, they could say that. They could say, potentially, that they believe that may... Well, you know what I'm saying?
June 30th,
That's why I love watching this, dude.
CoffeeZilla published a video entitled "Logan Paul's Scam Isn't Over." Logan Paul alleges that this video is defamation per se, again, objecting to the characterization of CryptoZoo as a scam. He says CoffeeZilla, quote, "left no doubt that he was accusing Paul of intentionally defrauding individuals who bought egg NFTs or Zoo tokens by referring to those people as his, Logan Paul's, victims. Declaring to his audience that Paul was guilty, and his offer to reimburse buyers of egg NFTs was an admission of guilt, and stating that Paul was just pretending he'd changed." This video has been viewed nearly 6 million times, and I highly recommend watching it again so it can be viewed 6,000,001 times. So, did CoffeeZilla make false claims about Logan Paul in this video? Well,
the thing is, Logan Paul himself called them victims, according to CoffeeZilla's video and the images that he provided. Logan Paul himself called them victims. So, again, not lying.
Was, quote, "Logan Paul promised $1.8 million to the affected victims, saying, 'In the meantime, I have committed more than $1.8 million for those who do not want to wait for CryptoZoo to be completed.' However, despite bragging about making millions with Prime, there have been no updates about the status of these updates." Now, Logan Paul says that
he has millions and millions and millions of dollars, but he just can't pay these people back.
Or at a minimum, had a high degree of awareness that the statements were probably false. But we can look to the video. Here's Logan Paul complaining that CoffeeZilla reached out to his manager rather than him personally.
"Maybe we could have talked about this if you had reached out to me, personally. Not my manager, Jeff, who is not me, Steven."
But when CoffeeZilla reached out to Paul, he heard back from Paul's lawyer.
"Well, I did reach out to you, and I got no response. In fact, the only response I got came on my 4th attempt to reach Logan, but this one came from his criminal defense lawyers. A guy named Jeffrey Neiman emailed me after my 4th attempt saying, 'Steven, see inserted on behalf of Logan Paul.' Now, to be honest..."
Bro, Logan Paul is so full of donkey doo-doo, bro, I swear.
Honest, I had no idea who Logan Paul was until I researched the lawyer and learned that he, quote, "regularly defends individuals and corporations in white-collar criminal litigations."
That's funny. That's funny. He got a lawyer that normally defends people who are committing white collar crimes. Wow. He really got a lawyer specifically for people committing white collar crimes to defend his white collar crime.
And that's when I realized, oh, that Logan Paul. Why didn't you
That
just say you
Logan
defended
Paul.
alleged white-collar criminals? Would have saved me a Google search. So I opened up the letter and it read, "We represent Logan Paul. Mr. Paul has informed us of your outreach about the status of the CryptoZoo buybacks. Mr. Paul remains committed to this process. We are working with Mr. Paul to evaluate the best way to achieve this goal. In the meantime, please direct to our attention any further inquiries to Mr. Paul. Thank you for your patience and understanding." Now, that might seem like a good step in the right direction to you. At least we got a response on behalf of Logan.
And as CoffeeZilla points out, there are two things absent
I'm sorry, the logo thing got me the third time. I can't lie.
from the lawyer's statement.
But when I read their response carefully, I realized things were actually worse than I thought. Because two things are absent from this statement. One, a timeline for refunds, and two, a plan for refunds. I mean, you have this abominable statement which says, "We are working with Mr. Paul to evaluate the best way to achieve this goal." So you're still at the whiteboard then. Guys, this is a statement you say when you have no plan or you're stalling, right? You say,
I want to pay you back, but I gotta figure out the best method to pay you back. You know, I gotta figure out the best tactic. I gotta plan it out. Put it on a calendar. Gotta figure out, like, what the best currency to use. You know, like, gotta figure out, how do I give you the money? You know, or how it should happen. Like, I can't just give you your money back. You know, there's things you gotta think about first before I just give you your money.
"We're evaluating the best options." I mean, that's where Logan was back in January. He was evaluating. Am I supposed to believe 6 months later, you guys haven't figured this out? You've gathered all the boys in the office, brainstorming every single day. How do we refund people? And you don't know?
Now, recall that we talked about how Logan Paul is currently being sued in real life by Tom Kirker, attorney Tom, in arbitration, and there's
Yes.
seeking damages caused by Paul's crypto venture. But perhaps the most shocking thing about this whole thing is that Logan Paul's lawsuit, the complaint, actually admits a whole bunch of the stuff that attorney Tom was going to have to prove for that case, which is one of the reasons you should never file performative lawsuits in the first place. Even though it's the right thing to do, not filing a performative lawsuit, you should do it for self-interested reasons. Here
Wait, so are you saying that this like intimidation lawsuit is actually messing up his current other lawsuit that he's got going on?
it'll very likely prejudice the defense of his case against the accusations in the other arbitration. Moreover, the whole complaint
he's
basically admits
stupid.
that CryptoZoo was broken beyond belief, which most people would qualify as a scam, but Logan Paul just claims to be a victim of his own developers. Now, it's not dispositive, but Merriam-Webster defines a scam as a fraudulent or deceptive act or operation. Paul committed $1.8 million to pay people back, but for some reason after 6 months, he never followed through on his 3-step plan. Though, in fairness, since there is a whole bunch of pending litigation, that might be the reason why he hasn't taken remedial steps. You need to figure all that out before you can start paying out millions of dollars.
Yeah. It's not like he has a consistent flow of millions of dollars on a consistent basis from his other ventures like Prime. You know.
But still, one is allowed to have the opinion that by
Hey, maybe he should ask Mr. Beast to let him win one of his games and then pay people back with the $1 million he wins from a Mr. Beast game. Maybe
not
not.
paying
I
off
think
victims,
that
then you're
could work
simply
actually.
perpetuating a scam.
I think that's genuinely a good idea. You think Logan Paul might he should hire me, bro. I got good ideas.
Here's
Actually,
CoffeeZilla
though.
reading from the post where Paul outlined what he would do.
I mean, listen, he had more of a plan, Logan did, back in January. I'm not even sure what there is to even still figure out because way back then, January 16th, he said, "I've committed more than 1.8 million for those who do not want to wait for CryptoZoo to be completed."
So that means that $1.8 million worth of money should have been handed back out already.
Players will be able to
But
burn their base
where is
eggs
it?
and base animals for their mint price. I mean, there it is. That's the plan. Pay a blockchain dev to code that up and pay the victims their money. That's it.
This video also calls Paul out for not explaining himself for the delay in paying people back. And I can't fathom that there's anything false here. Many people were wondering about their refunds, but Logan Paul wasn't responding to them, leading them to conclude that he was being deceptive when he made the promises. Again, people are allowed to have their opinions based on the disclosed facts. And even CoffeeZilla predicted that Logan Paul would eventually claim that he had to be silent because he was a defendant in a lawsuit.
Only he's tried this before, and it didn't make a lot of sense then either.
I had to rely on my team. I crumbled internally, and the advice was, while actual legal process was going on because of criminal investigation taking place that CoffeeZilla highlighted in his series, I had to stay silent. And for a year, I'm hounding Jeff. How do we make this right?
So at base, CoffeeZilla is going to have two probably pretty good defenses. First, these comments are 100% true. And second, they form the basis of his legally protected opinion, which is...
Bro, for that long, he was just hounding Jeff, bro. He was like, Jeff. Every day like that, bro. Just with that energy. Like, exactly like the Jeff. How do we make this right, Jeff? Now, Jeff didn't have any idea what the frick he was talking about, right? But Jeff knew that he was mad. He's like, oh, I think that's his angry face or something. But, you know, he just kept asking him. Like, they had no answers and definitely no solutions. But he did ask many times.
Is that Paul is a scammer because he cheated his fans out of millions of dollars. And then finally, Paul's third claim is that a January 5th, 2024 YouTube video called Logan Paul's Refund, CoffeeZilla accused Paul of orchestrating a massive con, referred to Paul as a serial scammer, and claimed that Paul scammed those who bought Zoo tokens or CryptoZoo egg NFTs.
It is still 100% within Logan Paul's power as a near billionaire with Prime to make things right, fully right, with his fans who he scammed.
On January 4th, 2024, Paul officially announced on X that his CryptoZoo egg NFT buyback program was operational. He posted a link to a website where holders could submit a claim for buyback, with Paul committing up to $2.3 million of his own money to the effort. And on that same day, Paul sued Ibanez and Greenbaum, alleging that they'd scammed Paul and he relied on their advice. Now, CoffeeZilla's January 5th video was published one day after Paul sued the developers and finally made a refund offer. Paul claims that since CoffeeZilla had many of the documents and text messages Paul cited in his lawsuit, that any characterization of Paul as a con or a scammer is false and defamatory. But CoffeeZilla's video explains that Logan Paul's refund offer came with a bunch of strings. He was offering up to $2.3 million, but the estimated damages are more than $18 million, and anyone who accepts the refund must waive their
nay. So it was he put up 2.8 million, and it's 18 million that got in damages that he scammed.
Rights to participate in a lawsuit filed by attorney Tom or in any other legal action against Paul.
Logan may be losing. Put in that light then, this refund starts to look less like a good faith attempt to make things right and more like a cynical bargaining chip to avoid getting in even more trouble.
Now, I don't know if Logan Paul is acting in good faith, but CoffeeZilla is perfectly entitled to that opinion. And there's no way to prove that factually, in Logan's brain, he had good intentions all along, including when his lawyers made a settlement offer. But CoffeeZilla certainly has plenty of reasons for concluding that there was a con and a scam. And as he points out in the video, he watched Logan's fans beg for a refund for 3 years.
But I was wrong. I mean, I wasn't wrong the first time he said I was wrong when he said he was going to still finish the game. I was wrong that he was going to do it at all.
But even after 12 months of work, you've still managed to overlook one crucial piece of information. See, even though I've said it's coming so many times, you've assumed that CryptoZoo isn't being made. Who are you to decide when the development timeline ends? Trust me.
We still don't have... Now, to be fair, we're still in 2024. So this thing better freaking release. You better start being able to Pokemon catch some freaking CryptoZoos. Cause we're running out of time here, bruh. We're on month 7. There's only 12, bro. We're halfway through the year. We're more than halfway through the year.
CryptoZoo is coming. I will make damn sure of it.
Oops. So much for making damn sure of it, because there's no game.
And despite hemming and hawing about the game, Logan Paul didn't actually finish the CryptoZoo game. And ironically, the lawsuit that Logan Paul filed against the developers made good use of CoffeeZilla's investigations and videos about Ibanez's background and Greenberg's secret sales of tokens.
Turns out Eddie Ibanez's entire backstory was a fabrication, including the MIT NFL story. Can you believe it? It's like, yeah, we know. And then he goes, yeah, well, you won't believe what I discovered. Crypto King secretly
Yeah, we
sold
already knew
tokens.
that, my dude.
Yeah, we know. Logan just shamelessly rips off my work claim for claim without citing me. I mean, he says things like, Mr. Greenbaum would later admit that he made millions of dollars through his surreptitious sales of Zoo tokens. But where did Logan find that admission? Was it perhaps when he investigated my video? Time and time again, this lawsuit
That is
copies my
hilarious,
work,
dude.
but is embarrassed to cite it. So
Now
they
he's
even
gonna
have to say
sue him,
things like
saying
based on
that-
public reports. What public reports?
That he's like a bad
Mr.
freaking
Ivan has made
journalist. Meanwhile,
approximately
he
$1.7
himself was
million
using
from
it.
selling zoo tokens.
Using the
I heard
freaking,
that
like,
before.
videos.
And for my calculations, he made about $1.7 million.
So Logan Paul has sued CoffeeZilla for making false statements because he keeps repeating facts that Paul has acknowledged in his own lawsuit against the developers are true. But Logan Paul just doesn't like how CoffeeZilla has characterized these facts. Now, sure, Logan Paul wants people to look at these same facts and conclude that he had positive intentions and that he got taken advantage of the bad guys. And maybe you do, but you're also welcome to conclude that Logan Paul is a serial scammer because two people can draw different conclusions from the same facts and it doesn't qualify as defamation. And while things that are labeled as opinion can sometimes give rise to defamation, they still need to be a verifiable fact. And there's actually case law applying the word scam in the context of a cryptocurrency scheme. And courts have decided that using the word scam in the context of a cryptocurrency scheme is generally not a verifiable fact that can be proved true or false. But even if you could, it would still qualify as an opinion. And that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, he's not wrong. Because again, to me, a scam is basically just that. It's as simple as that. You paid for something, you didn't get it. You know what I mean? And I don't mean, and that's pretty like open to interpretation on its own. You get me? Like if somebody tells you like, yo, here's a bike, I'm gonna sell you this bike. I'm like, all right, what's the deal with this bike? Why do I gotta buy this bike? And they're like, well, look, this bike has 5 speeds. It has 5 speeds. You understand? This thing can go 5 different speeds. You want to go slow? You want to go super slow? You want to go not so slow? You want to go fast? You want to go super fast? You want to go slowly fast? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, oh crap, well, I like this bike. All right, let's try this. So I buy the bike for whatever amount of money it is. You know, it doesn't matter. It could be $1 for freaking all, you know, it could be a Mr. Beast challenge. But the point is that you buy the freaking bike, and then I'm like, all right, well, here's the whatever amount of money that you asked, and then I get the freaking bike, and it turns out that that one of those settings ain't real. It's like, wait, hold on, this thing goes 4 different speeds. This don't go 5 speeds. You promised me 5 speeds. He's like, well, my bad. I didn't pay attention. It's like, no, screw you. That is a scam. You freaking told me this thing could go super slow fast, and it's like, no, you know what I mean? That's a scam. As far as I'm concerned, that's a scam. You promised one thing, and you didn't deliver it. But even then, that could be objective, especially when it comes to crypto, because you could get your crypto. It might be like a piece of shiz. Like it might not be. It might look horrible and be bad. And nobody wants it, but you got the game. You know, even if it's a bad game.
We call things scams all the time when there's an outcome that we don't necessarily like. Logan Paul asserts that you can only use the word scam to describe something where they intentionally intended something to steal money from someone, but that just doesn't jive with the regular definition of scam that we use all the time. Though it might actually apply in this case too. We don't know. Now, Logan Paul's lawsuit seeks compensatory damages for the harm to his reputation, emotional distress, and punitive damages, and an injunction to prevent CoffeeZilla from continuing to report on CryptoZoo. But the bottom line is that Logan Paul filed this lawsuit because he wants to silence his main critic. And that's the very definition of a slap suit. And even though CoffeeZilla won't be able to use the TCPA, he still has every other defense to a defamation lawsuit, including his
Which is
statements
some
or true
BS.
facts, and also his own opinions. The First Amendment also protects rhetorical hyperbole, which is how we describe exaggerated over-the-top speech employed for rhetorical effect. And frankly, even if these statements were defamatory, Paul would probably struggle to prove damages. Now, so far, CoffeeZilla hasn't said anything publicly, which is very smart. He's hired some great attorneys, and it looks like he'll let them do the talking, which, again, is smart, because when it comes to IRL legal disputes, this shit gets real. Now, as far as I know, CoffeeZilla has
I'll be honest, I can definitely see a world where this gets thrown out. But
started to go
boy, howdy, is that annoying, and it's gonna cost money too, bro.
GoFundMe or a campaign to recoup any of his legal defense costs, and those can get astronomically expensive. Ethan Klein of H3H3 incurred hundreds of thousands of dollars in a fair use dispute, and that was 10 years ago. But the next best thing would be to support CoffeeZilla on Patreon, which is where he gets most of his funding anyway. I'll put a link
I should start, once my channel starts to make quote-unquote money at 500 subs, I'm gonna start a freaking legal defense, like, bank account or something. Not that I think I'm gonna get sued for anything in particular or by someone, but I feel like eventually I'm gonna have to have a fair use dispute or something. You feel me?
CoffeeZilla's Patreon in the description of this video. I highly recommend becoming a member of CoffeeZilla's Patreon and contributing what you can. CoffeeZilla does great work, and it would be a real shame to let someone like Logan Paul silence CoffeeZilla. And in fact, I did a little digging and found that CoffeeZilla is actually represented by some very good attorneys. In fact, if you've been watching this channel for a while, you might actually have heard of them, because CoffeeZilla has retained Mark Bankston and Bill Ogden over at Farrer and Ball. They have been spearheading much of the defamation litigation against Alex Jones and are responsible for the approximately $50 million verdict for the Texas plaintiffs against Jones. And Bankston in particular is responsible for what might be the cross-examination of the decade when he created the Perry Mason moment, when he crossed Alex Jones on the stand and caught him in a lie after Jones's
Hold the phone, freaking! So he got himself a celebrity lawyer over here.
attorney accidentally sent Bankston the contents of Jones's phone. We talked about that at the time. It was an epic and textbook cross-examination skewering. So CoffeeZilla is in.
I kind of want to see that now.
But don't
too.
take it from me. I
I'm gonna
reached
have to
out
add that to
CoffeeZilla's
my
lawyers and
watch later.
got Mark Bankston on the phone. Mark,
Yo, I'm
thanks
gonna
for
clear my
being
throat real
here.
quick.
You are actually representing CoffeeZilla. Is that correct?
Sorry about that.
No, that's correct. My partner
Oh!
Logan and I have agreed to represent CoffeeZilla in this very exciting suit.
You know, in the world of
Bro, he has Empire
online
Strikes Back
lawyers,
poster.
There's a whole spectrum of people
What
that
a
are
sick
qualified
lawyer.
and that are not. Quick perusal of your resume seems to indicate that you guys know your way around defamation.
Yeah, most folks are probably aware of my defamation practice through the lawsuits that I brought against Alex Jones and InfoWars on behalf of several Sandy Hook parents. This situation is used on a different foot. This will actually be the first time that we are defending someone from a defamation suit, but it is something we very strongly believe in this particular case.
What
Oh
has
wow, he said this time I'm on the opposite side, but that's pretty dope, actually.
happened so far?
Right now, very little has happened. There hasn't been an answer in the suit or anything like that. You would usually, in most states at this point, face an anti-slap motion. That type of motion is not available in federal court in the Fifth Circuit in Texas.
And honestly, I can understand why these dudes would want to take on this case, because this would be such a phenomenal, like this can set some phenomenal precedents, and could be an example case to be used on why we should have federal anti-slap laws. You get what I'm saying? I think this is a smart move on everyone's behalf. This is pretty cool. I can see why this particular case could take a lot of interest, and I think it's going to get a lot bigger than Logan Paul may have necessarily intended.
In this case, the federal court venue was chosen, and there seems to be no obvious reason for that except to avoid the anti-slap motion. Ironically, this is a very, very vicious attack on CoffeeZilla's reputation that really he has no way to vindicate except going in the court and winning on this suit.
Reading the complaint, I was very surprised that Logan Paul had completely rehabilitated his image, and then CoffeeZilla just came out of nowhere and besmirched him for no reason whatsoever. So I found that to be very surprising.
Yeah, it seems far-fetched. I guess we'll have to see where Discovery takes us on that. Definitely. I mean,
And
look,
you see, that's one thing that I always said. Isn't it interesting? Because once you open up a lawsuit on someone, doesn't that mean you get opened up to Discovery as well? Like, and they could request a lot of information, you know what I mean, in regards to what you're suing about.
you can look at this suit, and it has all of the hallmarks of a classic slap suit. There's not a single person on this planet who can look at the situation and say that CoffeeZilla knew and intended to tell lies about Logan Paul. You know, I think I knew it before he became my client. I think I know it way more now. If there's something that man cares about, it's the truth. He is devoted to that principle, like very few journalists that I see today. This case really presents a David and Goliath type problem. You look at somebody like CoffeeZilla, yes, he has a lot of YouTube subscribers. I mean, I'm sure he makes money. You know, I'm sure.
Here's the thing, though. He doesn't advertise, though. That's what he does. He doesn't really make as much money as people assume. Like, he's not making Boogie 298 money. He's not making Mr. Beast money, Logan Paul money, because he does not advertise on his channel. He only gets monies from donations as far as, like, his Patreon and stuff goes. So, or, like, his merchandise sales, because he believes in, like, that sort of, like, advertisement-free, like, the classic, like, journalist with integrity type of dealio. Though, frankly, I feel like, he should be putting ads in his YouTube videos. At the very least, an ad at the very beginning or at the very end. If he doesn't want to do sponsors, fully like appreciate that it is what it is. I think he does do does he do sponsors? No, I don't know if he does sponsors, but I think he, like, if he doesn't want to do sponsors, totally cool, totally awesome. But he should definitely do ads because it's good for YouTube, it's good for the health of the platform because YouTube gets to make more money for hosting the videos that he makes. And B, like that could genuinely just be like a lawsuit fund if it all comes down to it. Just keep it in a separate account just for the just for like channel expenses. If that's really what you like. You want to sort of keep that integrity, you know?
I'm sure he does fine.
No, he doesn't.
He's not.
And that's because he's a independent journalist. Like, he doesn't have a major companies like backing him and stuff.
Anywhere near the capacity of his opponent. I mean, his opponent has an unlimited war chest to come at him and could essentially use this suit to drive him off the internet. We're not going to let that happen.
So,
and that's the thing. He literally just wants to hit him in the wallet and intimidate him.
To dismiss based on the allegations of the complaint, or maybe
I think it was a desperate move to try to get him to avoid investigating the.
You can't look at that complaint.
He has like a Pokemon card. I mean, he basically has like a timeshare Pokemon card website where you can own you and like however, like you and 3 other people can all buy a quarter of a Charizard Pokemon card, a shiny Charizard, foil Charizard. You own a quarter of that Charizard with like 3 other people. I'm like, so wait, so freaking you're gonna timeshare your freaking Pokemon cards? That's so stupid. Freaking hate that. That's so dumb.
Are the statements being made even something that can be verified as true or false? What does it mean to call something a scam? The word scam can be interpreted a lot of different ways, and it does not mean one thing to all people. Businesses and bad deals are described as scams constantly.
This is not the only suit that...
Yeah, as far as content creation goes, CoffeeZilla is way more respectable in that case. But Logan, at the end of the day, no matter what you say, he's a showman. You know, he was born for the WWE position, basically. He knows how to put on a show, and he knows how to make money.
Logan Paul
he's also a scam artist
related to the crypto scheme.
In my opinion,
he's currently facing other lawsuits related to the nature of that, and it seemed to me that a lot of those allegations are going to be deleterious for the litigation that he's in outside of this particular case.
The thing that I kept thinking to myself is that if I'm any one of those claimants in those cases, I'm extremely interested in the things that were said in this complaint. And as a result, going to be very interested in how this lawsuit progresses. All right, dude. Thanks for having me. I'll talk to you soon.
Thanks a lot. Take care. But even with great lawyers, lawsuits are still stressful, and it's easy to lose your appetite. Unless you use today's sponsor, Factor. Because Factor makes meeting your nutrition goals easier than ever by delivering fresh, never frozen, dietitian-approved meals right to your doorstep.
I have always wanted to try out these freaking things. But I never put myself in like a meal prep diet at the same time that I get one of these sponsor codes. And the problem is that right now I'm doing keto, and I'm sure this could help there, but I'm not really doing meal prep. I'm just sort of eating once a day. And I'm not even really eating, honestly. I'm just sort of like snacking on like raw stuff, like raw carrots, a piece of chicken or steak. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even really eating a full dinner right now. It's weird. I got a weird diet going on right now.
Offerings either. Factor's team of gourmet chefs creates each meal to help you feel your best all day long, and they really are extreme.
To be fair, turkey, chili, and zucchini sounds freaking phenomenal. Oh my goodness.
Anytime. But all this is making me hungry, so click on the link below or the one that's on screen and use the code LEADER.
Yeah, I'm hungry too. Frankly, you're making me hungry as well. No, to be completely honest with you, the fact that he's trying to silence CoffeeZilla here really pushes me to lean more towards the side of this being like an absolute scam. Like the actual what the frick is it called? The zoo token. The zoo token thing feels like it's a scam now because of the fact that he's suing CoffeeZilla to shut him up for this. Either that, or it makes me feel like there's something that Logan does not want to be found out about or seen or get into the public eye about that one website with the freaking Pokemon cards, the timeshare Pokemon cards website. It's very suspicious, in my opinion. Allegedly, don't sue me. But honestly, at this point, I'm like, you know, there's like way too like how many times is he gonna get caught for scams before we get like we're just freaking like tired of it? You feel me? It's 6:40. Okay, we're on a short timer, so we're gonna move on to the other topic. We're gonna move on now. I'm gonna drop a like on this video. I don't know why I'm not subscribed to you yet on the channel, but check it out, everyone. I'm gonna drop it on the Discord. Thanks for hanging out. Like or dislike, comment, and subscribe, and become a Monodachi today. I live stream all day, Monday through Friday, so go say hi. That's all for now, Monos. Goodbye, and thanks for swinging by. Salut.